Welcome to the series of interviews with people that I feel are very, very inspiring. And I know they're going to give you so much value. And I hope that you're going to get so much from this particular interview. My interviewee today is a lady called Rashmi Trivedi, who is from India in New Delhi. And as I've got talking to Rashmi, I just thought to myself, do you know what? I need to share this woman's mindset with so many other probably women around the world. I think she'll resonate with you at such a deep level. She's the chief manager for the Indian Oil Corporation. So a phenomenally busy, responsible job. I understand that kind of a role because I was a senior leader for so long myself. So I understand the challenges of being a senior leader. But not only that, she has a family. She has 2 children, and she has a husband, and she loves them dearly. So obviously she has to balance that. And she's the author of 2 incredible books, very successful books, and she's writing a 3rd book. So Rashmi, welcome to the interview today, and thank you very much for joining me out of your busy schedule.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to be here to connect with you.
It's an absolute pleasure to be talking to you. And we had a bit of a chat before the interview started. And,
yeah.
And I have to say, Rashmi just blew me away. You know, she's such a busy lady, but her energy is just incredible. I'm just going to ask her first and foremost. So just explain to viewers what it is that you actually do, both in your work life and in terms of your books.
Well, I work with Indian Oil Corporation, as you already mentioned. And currently I'm in a project EPIC, which is actually going to transform the way we do business, with the way our company does business. It's a massive project, and we 27 officers from all over the country were handpicked for this project. And like last year we came here from Bhopal. As I mentioned, I got transferred to Delhi, back to Delhi. And this is my, it's a software project. So I'm from the business side. So we have to, tell the people who are making the software how the entire process flows. So it's, of course, very demanding and challenging work. This was about my work and my writing, you asked me. My writing. This has a story of how it all started.
So your first book is called Woman, Everything Will Be Fine. If I've read it right, your first book is really about your own story, you know.
It is actually a memoir. My first book is a memoir. So as I was mentioning, I work with Indian Oil Corporation. My job is a transferable job. So when I started my job, I got posted in Delhi, and my husband has a business in Delhi. So he could not relocate. So I always had this fear in my mind. What if I'm transferred outside? How will I manage my family, my children, you know, all that. So for many years, I was in Delhi. I did not get transferred. I preferred to stay in Delhi. But there was a day when I had to move, because that was the job that my company required it. It was a demand from the job. So I got transferred to Bhopal. And initially I thought, I would not be able to manage. So in fact, I would be honest with you, I thought of quitting.
Wow.
And I actually thought of quitting, because all these years I had this mental block in my mind from the day I joined my work, that I would not be able to manage both my work and my family if they are not in the same place, right? Transfer, I would not be able to take a transfer. So this was actually, now I know it was a mental block. So when I got transferred, I thought, okay, let me quit now. There is no other way. So we had a discussion with my family, and my son, in fact, and always we working women, especially in India, we always carry this guilt, as if we are not doing enough for our children, we are not doing fair to them. So even I, like others, had this guilt in my mind. Am I being fair to my children? Am I giving them ample time? So my son told me one day when we were discussing this, Mom, even if you quit your job, don't sit at home, do something. That was the first time I realized that my son is actually, our children are proud, of us working mothers. I said, no, then in that case, I will not quit. If you are, you look up to me that, I'm managing both my work and my family. And when you're happy, so then I took the transfer and I went to Bhopal. So that was very challenging.
Just for people who don't really know India, the distance between Bhopal and Delhi is exactly what?
Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you the exact distance, but yeah, I would, in a train, I would take overnight journey. So I would say somewhat, how much it would be?
Yeah, so
800?
there you go.
I mean,
So,
more than that, I guess.
you're talking, close to 1,000 kilometers or something like that. I would
Yeah, yeah, 800 plus,
um,
yeah, 1,000 kilometers, yeah.
overnight journey. You see,
Overnight journey.
people here in the UK would say a long train journey is 4 or 5 hours. So,
Yeah,
the distances here are so different to those in
yeah,
India. So you
yeah.
worked in Bhopal for how long?
I was there in Bhopal for 3 years.
3 years. So for 3 years,
Yeah.
you were commuting to and fro home. Obviously, you must have lived in Bhopal for some
I
period.
lived in Bhopal, and every weekend I would come back to Delhi. So Friday evenings would be, back to Delhi, Monday mornings back to work.
So
So it was the
every
same way for
weekend,
3 years.
every weekend you took an overnight train.
Every weekend I took an overnight train, sometimes a flight also, of course, both train and flight.
Yeah,
So
that's
that is how it
incredible.
happened.
That's incredible. And your family still together? Still together?
They managed very well without me, and they were actually, I realized sometimes I used to feel jealous. I mean, oh my God, I thought I was so important to them, and they're managing very well without me. They did.
And
They were a great support.
has your husband learned to cook?
Sorry?
Did your husband learn to cook?
He did. I mean, my husband managed the show. In fact, when I
Wow.
came back, I thought I was, apprehensive whether they'll be too fond of staying. I mean, not they. He'd be too fond of staying alone without
That's
me.
brilliant. That's brilliant. So then you wrote this incredible book, which turned out to be an Amazon bestseller.
Yeah, it
If the viewers want to read the book, it's called Woman, Everything Will Be Fine. And then you went on to write another book, didn't you? And the other book was called Handful of Sunshine, Pocket Full of Rain. I just love that title. And
Yeah,
this
me too.
book of poems, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a collection of poems. Actually, what happened when I went to Bhopal, I started writing. So I would write a poem and put it on Facebook, on my social Instagram pages. People would appreciate. Then over time, I collected a lot of poems, and some of my poems went, widely circulated in WhatsApp. And there are so many interesting stories. Somebody connected with me in Messenger from somewhere in UK only.
Okay.
And he heard, I mean, there was a sermon, in the churches you have those.
Yeah.
So he heard my yes, I'm changing. There's another one which went viral. Yes, I'm changing, in some sermon there. And he Googled my name and he connected with me. And he said, I loved it so much. So, I mean, it was so motivating for me that people from all over the world, they are trying to connect to me because of something I'm writing, something that came straight from my heart.
It's because you're touching hearts. I mean, I read a poem of yours this morning, which touched me in such a deep way. I felt compelled to speak to you because that poem itself was very, very powerful. What was the name?
I guess we all feel the same way. It's just because I'm writing what you also feel, so people can resonate with what I write. That's the only reason, I think.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And now you're writing a third book, and we haven't quite decided on the title yet, but you've given me a title that you think might be the title, which I think is an incredible one. And it's called Ashes to Dreams.
To Dreams, yeah.
And this one is going to come out when?
August.
So we're looking at August time.
17th of August is the launch, hopefully.
So guys, 17th of August, and hopefully I should be in India around about that.
Yeah, that would be great.
I might even come to your launch, so I should look forward to that. But 17th of August, if any of the viewers want to get hold of that book called Ashes to Dreams, look out for it. I just want to ask you, what was your drive to writing, to aspiring in your work? What's your single drive? If you had to say that there was something that really pushed you to succeed in life, what would it be?
Yeah, the first and foremost, the first book I wrote, that drive was I wanted to share my experience. I realized that I was wrong in having a mental block all these years. And when I realized and I went ahead and took up the challenge, I wanted to share with the world that whatever block we have, it's only here. Yeah. We have the capability of doing anything we want and wish. Yeah. So, and because there are so many other women in my organization itself who think the same way I did, right? So I want to tell them, look, this is not how it should be. Go on, take on transfers, take on more challenges, because ultimately you have the capacity and the potential of managing both, perfect balance between family and work. So you would be able to do that. The first book was, the main motivation was that only, to share with the world. I mean, people like me,
Yeah.
exactly what were my experiences. And when people started appreciating that, and people started appreciating my poems and all, then I realized this is something God has blessed me with, that my words can touch people's heart. And if some one person also starts thinking, about what I'm writing and about the subject which I've written about, that makes my day. I feel so happy because, I have sort of conveyed what I want to convey to somebody, and somebody has started thinking along those lines. After my dying conscious and a few other poems, many people have reached out to me, about so many things they wanted to do, social work, doing people things for charity and all that. So in that line also I've started doing things. So I think everything was just a door opened to me, and writing for me opened a door to me, and I started doing things which I think I was destined to do. I was meant to do. That was maybe my calling.
That's amazing. And you know what? You've shared this woman's journey, because I think for women, there is a journey that needs to be traveled, and there are so many societal expectations or societal.
True, especially in India.
I think it's across the world,
Across the world, yeah.
And I think women are, and every single person is conditioned by the society that they live in. And I think women have that extra challenge in the world, because they're expected to be the hub
Undoubtedly.
of the family. So everything is more geared towards being family orientated. So they lose themselves.
Centered around her, yes.
So I think that's a really powerful book, and I love your purpose. I love the reason why you wrote it, and I can sense the passion within you. What was the biggest challenge for you at the beginning? I mean, obviously you're on a roll now, but at the beginning, what would you say your biggest challenge was?
My biggest challenge I felt was because I had no, as such, I have not been a student of humanities, or, I was never into writing. I was, of course, an avid reader all throughout my life, but I never thought about writing. So I did not know how to go about it. There was no formal education, nothing. Yeah. So, even now when I remember how I used to write on my phone, sitting at the airports, waiting for my flight, or on the train. That is so, I did not do it in a very organized manner initially. Then I realized, no, I have to have a proper, schedule to it and work according to it. And then I would, start proper, have proper timelines. And that is how I started writing. That was a challenge because I had no formal education as such. But now again, I realized that was no barrier.
Absolutely.
You don't have to have, right. So, I did it in spite of all that. So that is no barrier. Even if you don't have any sort of a, literary, I'd say advantage of having an education and all that, it's fine. If it comes from here, it resonates with people. That is what I've learned.
Yeah. And you know what, if you speak to anybody who is a copywriter, they will say, if you speak straight from your heart in a very conversational kind of way, the best way to connect is through emotion.
True. You said straight from my heart. I just wanted to share with you, I first started with a blog, and that blog is called Straight from my Indian Woman's Heart.
Yeah. So what does the future look like for you? What does the future look like for you?
About your future, I think whatever is happening to me, I never planned it. Nothing of it was planned. So things just started happening one after the other. I think I was, destined to do something for the people around me, for the society. That is why I wrote the poems which, are resonating with people. Many people, as I mentioned, have reached out to me, and I'm already, started working on certain projects with them, so that at least I give back to the society, whatever I've got, because I consider myself blessed.
Yeah.
Whatever I truly am blessed. And so it's my duty now to do something for others. So writing is just a way, maybe just open a door, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
Go write, finding time, because as you mentioned already that, I have a busy job and all. So finding time is the biggest challenge, apart from, of course, that no education and all that. In spite of all that, I think I'll be able to pursue this as a passion, because this is my passion. I'm not going to quit my job, but writing is my passion. And I'll, in spite of all the challenges that I can see ahead of me, mainly because of the timing and all that, time constraint and all, still, I think I'll be able to follow my dream. And I see many books down the line. I mean, in the years ahead, in front of me, I already am working on a very interesting book. This book is going to be launched, so it's already finished. But I'm already writing a very, very interesting book about India and Pakistan.
Oh, wow.
So again, yeah, it's a fiction, of course.
Yeah.
So it's about peace and love. So
Mhm.
I'm very excited about all my new projects.
I look forward to reading a copy of that. I mean, I'd be very interested in that. So finally, the final question I really want to ask you is, why do you think we've talked about your dreams an awful lot, and this is your drive, this is why you're doing what you're doing, and you can almost, anybody who watches this will see how much passion and energy you.
Right.
So that's what happens when you follow your dreams. You get passion and energy. Why do you
Yes.
think people should follow their dreams?
Why should people follow their dreams? I think we all have but one life. Though, of course, in India, we believe in reincarnation and rebirth and all that. But at the same time, this is the birth I know I have. I can bank on today, right? I'm not sure about tomorrow. So this is one life in which we should do what we want to do.
Yeah.
And okay, we are bound certain time, most of the times, by so many responsibilities and things which we have to do. Maybe at times we end up doing things we don't want to do. But at the same time, we have, we live our life only when we are following our dreams, because then we are doing something which God made us, we were destined to do. That is what I feel. And that is why we should follow our dream. We should do something which He made us, for, not for something we just happen to be doing.
Absolutely. So what you're saying is, for the viewers out there, the message, I guess, is every single one of us has been put on this earth by God to do something. So the thing about you finding what it is that you
find your calling. Yeah.
Find your calling and then follow your calling.
Follow your calling.
That is the message from both of us today. Thank you so much for joining me on today's interview.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
No, it's been beautiful.
And looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah, I look forward to meeting you too. But I think the viewers will get so much out of this. So thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.